So, ladies and gentlemen, Godzilla vs. Kong has smashed it. Now, I say that with caveats, of course, like asterisk, asterisk. It smashed it, but yeah, this has been really quite impressive, to be honest. So we'll get into the numbers in a minute, but I thought I would discuss realistically what this highlights to me is that Legendary were right. They wanted this to release in theatres rather than HBO Max, and that's why they were so annoyed when Warner Brothers just announced they were going to release it. Because it's not a Warner Brothers film, it's actually a Legendary film. They paid 75% of it. Warner Brothers had a 25% stake and controlled distribution. But Legendary were right to want to just release it in theatres, because this has done really, really well. Now, I say really, really well, and there'll be a lot of people that will say, yeah, but it's done pandemic-era records. So when people have sat there in the past and said, well, Wonder Woman 1984 smashed it, and Tenet smashed it, and they did, like, for what they were, given the criteria and the circumstances, they did smash it. Godzilla vs. Kong has blown them both out of the water. And that's great. Like, that's really, really good. I am genuinely surprised. Pleasantly surprised, but still genuinely surprised, because I didn't think there was as much normie hype for this film than there clearly is, which is great, because to me it signifies that, one, there's the potential hope for the Monsterverse to continue. Secondly, it sort of clarifies to me that, yeah, Kong is the sort of draw there these days. And what I mean by that, again, don't dislike the video, Godzilla fans. I'm a Godzilla fan myself. But Kong Skull Island was the highest grossing Monsterverse movie, mainly because normies really like Kong. And I think this also highlights that to a certain degree. But this is great. This is genuinely really, really, really good. So let's take a look at the numbers. And then, like, I did have some numbers for some of the other films which dropped, and we'll sort of vaguely compare. But anyway, Godzilla vs. Kong looked to set a very impressive international bow after a strong opening in China on Friday. They're opening on... it's 70 million in China. Now, normally we would say that that's not very good because China will be taking a large portion of that money. Legendary is part owned by a Chinese company, I believe. So I do think that there would be a larger portion of that would go to Legendary now, given like a normal... like a Warner Brothers, for instance. I don't think a straight Warner Brothers film would take as much as a part-owned Chinese film releasing in China. I don't know, but it's an assumption, and I think I might be right anyway. So it took loads of money, $70 million. But Warner Brothers Legendary's latest Monsterverse movie is performing even better than expected. So according to the latest box office update, GVK has taken in an estimated 121.8 million. That's great. Like, that's really good, and surprisingly so. I didn't think it would do anywhere near those numbers. And that's not because I hate it. Like, I love the Monsterverse, but I'm still really surprised. And now that was from 38 overseas markets, amassing 70.34 in China alone, so $1 million in China alone, and setting a new record for highest overseas debut in the pandemic era. Because, ladies and gents, Wonder Woman 1984 was a massive flop in China. It was always going to be. They don't really like strong female superhero characters and things like that. It's not really, that's not what, they just don't like it. It's not what the market dictates. But I am really surprised that this did well in China as well, to be perfectly honest, because Chinese and Japanese people, the cultures are not, they are opposed to one another. The Japanese Prime Minister, during all this pandemic nonsense, did come out and say, hey, look, it's the Chinese health organization, slating China and the World Health Organization. They don't make any qualms about hiding it. Japan is not massively favourite with China, and vice versa. So I'm really surprised. Like, I genuinely am. You know, a traditional Japanese property. Yes, it's made by a Western market, but a traditional Japanese property doing really well in China. Hey, it's good. Still funny, though. Anyway, so this is the strongest launch since cinemas reopened by a wide margin. But the movie is actually outperforming, all previous Monsterverse releases. Godzilla, Kong Skull Island, and Godzilla King of the Monsters in most regions, which suggests that there is hope for the preservation of the theatrical experience yet. So there's always that, right? Which I'm a huge proponent of theatres. I say it all the time. We do live streams about it. I get live stream questions from members and stuff like that. I love theatres, and I don't want that experience to go. So this is good. This confirms, hopefully, to studios that, yeah, no, you need to keep theatres alive, because people are sick of just watching shit at home now. Keep the theatres alive. Yes, there'll always be the people that will say, no, streaming's the future. Financially speaking, you'll never get the money from a streaming service that you can from a box office debut. You just can't. Like, that's just basic. It's simple mathematics. You cannot. Which means that the budgets can't sustain themselves. And if the entire industry itself has been built up around that structure, without massive demolition of the industry and restructuring, again, it's never going to change. So that's really, really good. I'm still really surprised that it's outperforming the other things. Bearing in mind, it still needs to properly open domestically. Domestically is the States. That's what... Because it's Hollywood, people just say domestic. Domestic is in the States. It still needs to open there properly. This opened primarily in like Australasia and things like that. So Australia. I believe it may have opened in New Zealand. If I'm right, I'm probably not. But anyway, whatever. Those 38 territories have done really well. It's not open in the UK yet. People are like, "Where's your review?" I'm like, I haven't seen it yet. I can't see it yet. I'm not able to. But this is nothing but positive. This is great. Now, early social media reactions to the movie were mostly very positive, but some full reviews were a little harder on the massive crossover event. The embargo hasn't officially lifted in all locations, however, so we won't get a proper read on the critical reception for another few days. In fairness, because I have a lot of Australians that watch me as well, a lot of people have seen it, and a lot of people are very positive about it. It seems to me that, like, if you watch the trailers and were expecting what the trailers indicate, which is a big monster brawl and some human nonsense, and I say nonsense because their plots are normally crap, then you're going to get that. And if you wanted that, you'll be happy. That's generally the sort of response that most people have given me on the other videos. So, yeah, it's good. Now, a lot of people have been asking me where they can watch it in the UK and other parts of the world. In the UK specifically, I know Warner Brothers and Legendary are selling premiere streaming rentals. So basically, premiere night, 1st of April or whatever, you can rent it and you can stream it. So I know that there's that setup. They haven't told you where you can do that yet, though. So I'm not overly sure where all of that is. I'm sure it will be on a streaming platform somewhere along the line. But this is great. This is really, really good news. And yeah, it's just nice to be a little bit positive for a change. This is good news. It smashed it. It really has. 121.8 million, only opening in 38 territories. One of the largest, obviously China, and that is one of the largest markets. Absolutely cleaned up. 70 million. Could have done more, obviously. And it you know, but bearing in mind China-Japanese tensions, it's done pretty damn well. Not opening up in the second biggest market in the world, properly, USA. Again, I think it's done very, very well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens moving forwards now when it does get released on HBO Max, what HBO Max claims it's doing. They are never independently verified, so that'll be very difficult to validate and actually say, yeah, no, 100% I agree, that's legitimate numbers. Because they said Wonder Woman 1984 did well, and it didn't. Like, those are not good numbers that they were quoting. So we'll have to see how it goes, but I do think HBO Max will clean up, based on this, they'll clean up a fair amount of money. Moving forwards, and I know people in the UK are really, really dying to watch it, so it'll be interesting to see how that equates into everything moving forwards. So I'll hand it on over to you. What do you think, ladies and gents? What do you think? Let me know down below in the comment section. I'm probably going to do a live stream all about this evening at 4 PM Eastern Standard Time. That's 9 PM GMT, because our clocks have changed, so now we match you guys. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. If you are new here, please do hit subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching though, guys. Take care.